I'm currently reading Originals by Adam Grant, and in the second chapter there is one observation which is of particular importance to anybody who wants to come up with something new, something novel, be it a creative expression, some advancement in technology, something which is not already on the table. And Grant begins by explaining that the people who are remembered as great innovators have just produced a lot of volume. It's not that you start doing something and then the first thing you come up with is a real masterpiece, nor is it always that you do a bunch of things and then in a predetermined point you achieve mastery. It's more about producing a lot of volume and then sometimes in a pretty random place you end up producing something of great value. A few examples. The great innovator Thomas Edison applied for more than 600 patents. Only a few of them are now well known. The same holds true in the creative domain. Picasso painted more than 1,800 paintings. Among them are the few of his well-known works. And if you know any more examples, please let me know down in the comments. Usually such numbers are available for all painters and all creators. And there are two main reasons why that is the case. Firstly, if you start doing something, usually your first ideas are pretty conventional. You have to get these conventional ideas off the table before you arrive to something which is of great novelty. For example, in the newspaper world, it's usually said that you need at least 25 options to choose from to arrive to a really good headline. The first headlines you suggest are very conventional. They follow a well-known pattern. And only once you have put them on the table, now you are free to come up with something which has some novelty to it. The second reason why we can't just go and create a masterpiece is because we are really bad evaluators of our own work. Because we are so heavily invested in our own work, it's very hard to objectively judge how much of a value it is. And usually if you ask an author to explain what would be his best novel in his own opinion, that does not align with what the general public considers to be his most important contribution. Now, one problematic point with this is that because you can't just take huge amounts of time to prepare and then start doing something, you have to act based on rather limited amount of information in order to you to be able to actually go and create that volume of work. And that can be challenging. One of the first lessons I remember from my Buddhist teacher was about the courage to act based on limited information. He had observed that most people want to really become a real expert in the domain and just gather all the information before they are able to make their first move. Be it a business idea, anything where there's a little bit of a risk involved in going and doing something. But the tragedy is that oftentimes the only way you could get all the information you need is by starting to do something, and you would gather the information within this process. My favorite example is using Google Maps. Oftentimes if I'm in a new city, I can see this small little dot here which shows me where I am, but I don't know how do I hold the map. So I also don't know in which direction I'm supposed to go. And the best way to find out is just to start going in one direction. And then I just see my small little dot moving, and if it happens to be the right direction, then cool, I just continue going that way. And if it happens to be a wrong direction, I can simply adjust accordingly, because now I know this direction is wrong and I have to turn so many degrees to get where I want to go. This is very well explained on the Cynefin Framework. The Cynefin Framework talks about 4 different domains of decision making, showing you which type of approach works for which problem. And among the 2 first domains are clear and complicated, in which you can come to a good solution through simple analytical reasoning. You can ahead of time think what would be a good trajectory, and then you just execute based on that. However, most creative challenges, like finding a new business idea, starting the actual company, coming up with a technical invention, they are in the complex domain, where there is no way to gather all the data ahead of time, and where the best mode of execution is to probe, then to analyze what we got, and then to adjust based on that. And this is exactly the Google Map analogy. You do something, you start going, you see a dot moving, and then based on this you adjust. So that, I think, is the main takeaway from today. In order to produce some real masterpiece, you have to produce a lot of volume. And in order to do so, you need to become comfortable to act based on limited information. And that requires you to set up your workflow in a way where it is safe to go back. It is safe to fail. This is very well achieved in the IT industry, where we have source control systems like Git, which gives you the opportunity to freely change everything, make big changes in your code, and then you always know that if I just broke something in a really bad way, I can go back to this safe place, this place where everything was working, and then again I can innovate from there and explore from there. So I hope that whatever you are doing, you are able to set up your workflow so that you are able to freely experiment, so that going back would not be too expensive. And that's the main thing from today. I hope that you can go and now, in whatever domain you're working in, you are able to go and just produce a lot of things, of which some will become the real masterpieces, which you are remembered by in history. And hope to see you again for new tips from Adam Grant's Originals.